Okay, so I have this box put together. First, I would want to get rid of all of these seams or all of the design or the edges that are blank around here. This is real simple if you're gentle with a blending tool, and you can even use like a paintbrush to, or even your finger to smooth those sections out. So you really want to make sure you blend those and get rid of those seams and try not to blend too far in. Okay, and so I've also put a coil, if you look right here, that's at the top all the way around. Okay, so I'm putting that coil in so when I cover this up, I don't have to like drop a coil in later. Okay, I already have it there. And so I'm gonna go ahead and score and slip this on. Okay, and I didn't even like try and blend that coil. I'm just putting it in there so it makes it easier later. Okay, so put some on this and then flip and do the same thing on this one. Ooh. Okay. So what I have right now is a cube, and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to cut off one of the corners. And I think the best way to decide which one you're going to is either by selecting one that you don't like, or like one that got messed up, or one corner that you really, really like. Okay, so kind of go one way or the other. Maybe you like this section, so you want to have this facing the top. Okay, maybe you really dislike a certain corner because like this one got bumped a lot, and so you'd like to cut it off. Okay, so kind of think about that, which one is going to be removed. I'm just going to cut where I already did. And so I'm going to grab a ruler, and I'm going to measure and mark at 2. Okay, so I have a mark here, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side and mark at 2. Okay, so I have a mark on each of those, and then I will connect and draw that line. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just carry this line over to this side and hold this and mark it 2, and then connect those places. And on this last one, I don't have to do anything because I already have these marks. I just need to bring them over to the front and connect those. Okay, so I have this cut off. If you notice, this is 3 of the sides. Okay, because we're altering it and it's sitting on one of the corners, or we're making it look like it defies gravity, but really this is going to be perfectly balanced. Okay, or it should be perfectly balanced, because if this falls over in the kiln, it will glue itself to whatever it falls on. Okay, so it will glue itself to the shelf, or it will glue itself to somebody else's project. Okay, so we have to make sure that this does not fall over. Okay, and so I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to cut this at an angle. And the reason that I'm cutting this, I don't know if you can see, at an angle, is that this is going to make this like parallel to the table. Okay, you'll have the right angle. Okay, if I can hold this up. Okay, so you can see that. So think about it as like a 45. This way you don't want to cut straight in. You want to have this angled. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and you'll see why. Look at how far down this is too. This isn't very far. Okay, this is maybe 1.25 inches or so, 1.5 inches. So remember that for when we get to the lid. Okay, so cutting at an angle, I'll rotate, do the same thing, cut at an angle. And if you look, then this is now flat, and this will sit on the table, okay, and this will be perfectly balanced. If you like push on any of these corners, it's going to be stable. It's not going to like flop and fall over. Okay. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and roll out a base. That's going to go ahead and cover the bottom of this. This could be a different shape. It wouldn't have to be a triangle like the bottom of this. So it kind of depends on your design, on what you might want this to look like. You could have something like this that it gets scored and slipped onto. So you would have a base that's just a circle, okay? And it overhangs the edge. That's perfectly fine. Or you could trace this and cut out a triangle. Okay, it's just a matter of preference, but I would trace it and then cut straight down so you have at least something that's a little more solid for this to sit on. Okay, so this would just get scored and slipped, and we would reinforce it once we opened up the top of this. Okay. Okay, make sure you press that on, and you can clean up any of that stuff to make sure it looks nice. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut off the top, and I'm gonna refer back to this little piece, okay? If you cut something off and you only draw a line down here, think about how small that opening is gonna be, okay? You're gonna have an opening that is about this big. Okay, and so if we want this to be something that's functional, we're going to have to cut further down. Okay, and I think it's best to go ahead and go from corner to corner. Okay, and this makes the lid pretty big. Okay, and I'll show you. I'm going to cut mine and you can look at mine. Right now you have 3 sides that we're working with. So 1, 2, and 3. And you could make these all the same, or you could change them and make them different. Okay, and so I think for at least mine, I'm going to have one of mine be different and 2 of them be the same. Okay, so then I'm going to have a better idea of when I put the lid back on where it matches. Okay, so I mean, that's just my thought about it. So I'm going to have the other 2 sides just curve. I don't really want them to be straight because I don't feel like they latch real great that way. But I don't want them to like slide around. I want them to sit on there and latch so they're going to stay. So that's one side, that's another side, and this is another. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut. The nice thing is, no matter how you cut this off, it should fit right back on because it's like the other part to the puzzle. Whoops, and I've just twisted that off. The corners are a little bit thicker because you have those reinforcing coils in there, so you might have to go back in and kind of re-cut those, make sure it pops off. Okay, but then this is what that looks like. Okay, and this gives you a pretty large opening, so this can be something that is going to be functional. Okay, and then this would go back on the top, and it's easy to tell this is my point, this is my point, this is where it would attach back on. Okay, we would need to blend the coils. You can see them now. Okay, these down here would need to be blended, and the nice thing is they're already there, so all you have to do is smooth them both directions and get rid of them. You would want to come and smooth this section out. Anything that's got a sharp, like 90-degree angle to it, once you have glaze on it, could be something that could scratch or cut you. So I would make sure that you smooth everything out, make everything nice and clean, and get this ready for the sculptural element that you're going to put on the top. Okay.